Dear viewers, Namaskar. Welcome to the lecture series on nutrition and healthcare sciences. Today, the topic basic food laws and regulatory agencies will be discussed. Generally, food law is used to apply to legislation which regulates the production, trade and handling of food and hence covers the regulation of food control, food safety and relevant aspects of food trade. Minimum quality requirements are included in the food law to ensure the foods produced are unadulterated and are not subjected to any fraudulent practices intended to devise the consumer. In addition, food law should cover the total chain beginning with provisions for animal feed, on-farm controls and early processing though to final distribution and use by the consumer. Although food law is used in a singular term, it is recognized that in many countries more than one law may exist which contains provisions for ensuring safe and quality food production. Countries often face the additional challenge of updating their food laws in line with international agreements such as World Trade Organization, that is WTO, and Codex standards. Food regulations generally cover the following: general regulation, food standards, food hygiene, food additives, pesticides, veterinary drug residues, food packaging and labeling, food advertising, etc. Food laws and regulations implemented by any countries should generally include the following aspects. It must provide a high level of health protection. It should include clear definitions to increase consistency and legal security. It should be based on high quality, transparent and independent scientific advice following risk assessment, risk management and risk communication. It should include provision for the use of precaution and the adoption of provisional measures where an unacceptable level of risk to health has been identified and where full risk assessment could not be performed. It should include provisions for the right of consumers to have access to accurate and sufficient information. It should provide for tracing of food products for their recall in case of problems. The administration and implementation of food law requires a qualified, trained, efficient and honest food inspection service. The food inspector is the key functionary who has day-to-day contact with food industry, trade and often the public. The reputation and integrity of the food control system depends to a very large extent on their integrity and skill. The responsibilities of the inspection services include inspecting premises and processes for compliance with hygienic and other requirements of standards and regulations, evaluating HACCP plans and their implementation, sampling food during harvest, processing, storage, transport and sale to establish compliance, to contribute data for risk assessment and to identify offenders. Proper training of food inspectors is a prerequisite for an efficient food control system. As current food systems are quite complex, the food inspector must be trained in food science and technology to understand the industrial processes, identify potential safety and quality problems and have the skill and experience to inspect the premises, collect food samples and carry out an overall evaluation. The inspector must have good understanding of the relevant food laws and regulations, their powers under those laws and the obligations such as imposed on the food sector. Laboratories are an essential component of a food control system. All food analysis laboratories may not be under the control of one agency or ministry, and a number could be under the jurisdiction of the states, provinces and local authorities. The food control management should, however, lay down the norms for food control laboratories and monitor their performances. The laboratories should have adequate facilities for physical, microbiological and chemical analysis. In addition to simple routine analysis, the laboratories can be equipped with more sophisticated instruments, operators and library facilities are required. Government of India has established 4 central food laboratories serving as concerned laboratories for analysis of food supplies. These are Central Food Laboratory, Kolkata, Food Research and Standardization Laboratory, that is Ghaziabad, Public Health Laboratory, that is in Pune, Central Food Technological and Research Institute, that is in Mysore. A few of the food laws which can be declared voluntarily by the manufacturers of finished products are as follows: AGMARK standards, that is ARGMARK, Codex Alimentarius standards, that is CAS, Bureau of Indian Standards and Specification, that is BIS, and Consumer Protection Act, that is in 1986. Worldwide list of main international standards and statutes: International Standards Organization, that is ISO, Codex Alimentarius Commission, that is CAC, World Health Organization, that is WHO, Food and Agricultural Organization, that is FAO, World Trade Organization, that is WTO, World Organization for Animal Health, that is WOAH, European Union Standards, that is EU standards, Food and Drug Administration, that is FDA, International Plant Protection Organization, that is IPPO, Convention on Biodiversity, that is CBD, International Commission on Microbiological Specification for Food, that is ICMSF. HACCP is an industry-wide effort approved by the scientific as well as by the regulatory and industry communities, designed to focus on food safety, including food safety in retail establishments. A major focus of the HACCP program is from farm to table. In this context, HACCP is a concept as well as a method of operation applied to all phases of food production, including agricultural production, food handling, food processing, food services, food distribution and consumer use. In short, everyone is responsible for safe food products. When it comes to pathogens, sight, smell and taste is not enough. It is necessary to have control over the process, the raw materials, the environment and the people, beginning as early in the food production system as possible. HACCP offers a number of advantages. Most important, the program focuses on identifying and preventing hazards from contaminating food based on sound science, permits more efficient and effective government oversight, primarily because record keeping allows investigators to see how well a firm is complying with food safety laws over a period rather than how well it is doing on any given day. Places responsibilities for ensuring food safety on the food manufacturer or distributor, helps food companies to compete more effectively in the world market, reduces barriers to international trade. In the application of HACCP, the use of microbiological testing is seldom an effective means of monitoring CCPs, that is critical control points, because of the time required to obtain results. In most instances, monitoring of CCPs can best be accomplished through the use of physical and chemical tests and through visual observations. Microbiological criteria do, however, play a role in verifying that the overall HACCP system is working. For a successful HACCP program to be properly implemented, management must be committed. This indicates an awareness of the benefits and costs of HACCP and will include education and training of all employees. Benefits in addition to enhanced assurance of food safety are better use of resources and timely response to problems. There are 7 HACCP principles followed for food industries, such as: Principle 1, conduct a hazard analysis. After addressing the preliminary tasks discussed above, the HACCP team must conduct an analysis with the purpose of developing a list of hazards such as biological, chemical or physical, reasonably likely to cause injury or illness if not effectively controlled. Principle 2, CCP identification. In addition to determining potential hazards, HACCP programs identify the points in the food manufacturing processes where these hazards can be controlled. Principle 3, establish critical limits for each CCP. Once CCPs are identified, critical limits are determined to reduce or eliminate potential hazards. Principle 4, establish CCP monitoring procedures. Monitoring consists of a planned sequence of observations or physical measurements that can be readily recorded at each CCP to ensure that the process is under control without imposing unrealistic time delays or cost in production. Establish corrective actions procedures. Once hazards have been identified, critical limits determined and monitoring procedures set up, it is important to have pre-established corrective actions to eliminate deviations and permit production to proceed. Corrective actions are defined as actions to be taken when the results of monitoring at the CCPs indicate loss of control. Principle 6, establish procedures for HACCP verification and validation. Although verification appears to consist simply of checking for instrument calibration and the reviewing of records, this process embodies additional activities that ensure the validity of an HACCP program and includes review of CCP records, critical limits and microbial sampling and analysis procedures. Validation ensures that the program does what it was designed to do, that is, succeed in ensuring the production of a safe product. Principle 7, document the HACCP program establishment of record keeping procedures. An HACCP program should be thoroughly documented and implemented, establishing procedures for the identification, storage, retrieval, maintenance, protection and deposition of documents. The documentation generated must be formal written records providing factual evidence that an activity has been performed in a timely manner in accordance with established procedures. Coming to International Organization for Standardization, that is ISO. ISO is the world's largest developer of voluntary international standards providing benefits for business, government and society. ISO is a network comprising the national standards institutes of 163 countries. ISO standards make a positive contribution to the world we live in. They ensure vital features such as quality, ecology, safety, reliability, compatibility, interoperability, efficiency and effectiveness, and at an economical cost. They facilitate trade, spread knowledge and share technological advances and good management practices. Today, more than ever, food products regularly cross national boundaries at every stage of the supply chain from farm to fork. ISO international standards create confidence in the products we eat or drink by ensuring the world uses the same recipe when it comes to food quality, safety and efficiency. ISO provides a platform for developing practical tools through common understanding and cooperation with all stakeholders on board, from agricultural producers to food manufacturers, laboratories, regulators, consumers, etc. Working through its network of national members, its standards bring together to foremost experience in the world and disseminate it to both developed and developing countries. ISO standards are powerful tools for taking action on global challenges like sustainability and climate change by, for example, discriminating best practice on new technologies less detrimental to the environment. By implementing voluntary ISO standards, companies make a proactive commitment to the principles they stand for: quality, transparency, accountability and safety. Important ISO standards related to food safety. ISO 9000, that is quality management standard, ISO 1400, that is environmental management standard, ISO 22000 food safety management and standard, and the last one ISO 17025 laboratory management standard. Coming to Codex Alimentarius Commission, that is CAC. CAC is an intergovernmental body that coordinates food standards at the international level. Its main objectives are to protect the health of consumers and ensure fair practices in food trade. The CAC proved to be most successful in achieving international harmonization in food quality and safety requirements. It has formulated international standards for a wide range of food products and specific requirements covering pesticide residues, food additives, veterinary drug residues, hygiene, food contaminants, labeling, etc. The Codex recommendations are used by governments to determine and refine policies and programs under their national food control system. More recently, Codex has embarked on a series of activities based on risk assessment to address microbiological hazards in foods. Codex work has created worldwide awareness of food safety, quality and consumer protection issues and has achieved international consensus on how to deal with them scientifically through a risk based approach. And the last regulatory agency specific to India, that is the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, that is FSSAI. FSSAI has been established under Food Safety and Standards Act 2006, which consolidates various acts and orders that have until now handled food related issues in various ministries and departments. FSSAI has been created for laying down science based standards for articles of food and to regulate their manufacture, storage, distribution, sale and import to ensure availability of safe and wholesome food for human consumption. In India, the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006 aims to establish a single reference point for all matters relating to food safety and standards by moving from multi-level, multi-departmental control to a single line of command. To this effect, the Act establishes an independent statutory authority, that is the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, with head office at Delhi. FSSAI and the state food safety authorities shall enforce various provisions of the Act. FSSAI has been mandated for performing the following functions. framing of regulations to lay down the standards and guidelines in relation to articles of food and specifying appropriate system of enforcing various standards thus notified. Laying down mechanisms and guidelines for accreditation of certification bodies engaged in certification of food safety management system for food business. Laying down procedures and guidelines for accreditation of laboratories and notification of the accredited laboratories. Every nation needs an effective food laws and food control services to promote a safe, honestly presented food supply and to protect consumers from contaminated, adulterated and spoiled foods. Food regulatory agencies are simple systems to follow. They concentrate on critical hazards, helping to prevent foodborne illness. Food industries should conduct an in-depth audit of the entire HACCP system at least once a year, and whenever there are new products, new manufacturing lines or new processes. Thank you.